Today we're going to be changing the oil on a Nissan truck. So first thing I'm going to do is check and see what the oil level was previously. I already know that it needs to be changed because it's been like 15,000 miles, but we're going to take a look anyway. So just find the dipstick somewhere. In this case it's yellow. A lot of times it'll be yellow or red or something like that, so it's easy to find. So just pull that out, take a rag or
paper towel,
clean it off. Once it's clean, put it back in. Fully seat it and then pull it back out. You can check the oil level on here. As you can see, we're looking for somewhere between the low and high level. And that's where our oil level is right now, barely on the dipstick at all. So we not only did it need more oil, but it is clearly very dark brown, so it needs to be changed anyway. I'm gonna leave this out just so it'll drain a little bit easier. Air will be able to come in the top. And I'm also gonna loosen this as well, although I don't think that's essential. The tools that we're going to need today and supplies are going to be just these right here. We're going to use SAE 5W30 high mileage, also using an STP extended life filter. I don't really care what size the bolt is that is on the drain plug, so I'm just going to use this nifty super socket self-adjusting that tool that I got for Christmas last year. And then of course we're going to need a drain pan to catch the old oil. So a couple of things you're going to need to find once you get under here is just look around and see if you can't locate the oil filter. There it is right up there on the passenger side of the engine. And then the other thing that you're going to need is the drain plug. So just take a look at the drain pan and then go find the lowest spot on the drain pan, and that's usually where you're going to find the drain plug. It's going to look something like this. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is position your drain pan just below the drain plug that we pointed out before. And then also what I like to do, since the oil is going to be shooting out in the direction that the drain plug comes out, I like to put the drain pan over to the side a little bit. And you'll have to adjust this as the oil is coming out, because at first there's going to be a lot of pressure there. It's going to shoot the oil over to the side, but then as it drains more and more, it'll be dripping down straight, and you'll just need to adjust the pan that you're going to catch the oil in as it goes. So let's take our little super socket here and see what we can do. All right, I think what we're going to do is abandon hope with the super socket, and we're just going to go get the right size. All right, let's try this again, but this time with a 14 millimeter. There we go. Got it loosened up. And then once you have it loose, what I like to do is just use my fingers for the rest of this, because what we're going to end up with is first you'll start to get a little oil leaking out, and then when it gets close, you want to pull the drain plug and the socket that you're using, or wrench or whatever, out of the way as fast as you can, so you get as little oil on your hands and as much oil in the bucket as you can. So let's see if we can't get going here. And here we go. There we go. Oh, that's not good. No wonder it was running so poorly. That's disgusting. Oh man, I'm sorry, truck. You know what else I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go grab the jack. I'm gonna lift up the front driver's side of the vehicle so that we can actually tip this drain pan a little bit more towards where it needs to be coming out. And we'll be back in a bit once this oil is drained out. All right, now that we have our oil drained out there, the next thing that we're gonna do is get rid of the old filter and install the new one. So we can see up here on the right side of the engine, that yellow can looking deal there, that is the old oil filter. So what we're gonna do is just reach up there and unscrew it and then get ready to install the new one. Another thing that you're gonna wanna do here is just be prepared for there to be oil in the oil filter. So when you take it out, try and catch as much of that as possible, and maybe I'm gonna have a paper towel on standby or some kind of rag or something like that. Hold it right side up, kind of like a cup, to try and catch as much of that as possible. The new filter, it's gonna be this STP one. It comes with a plastic seal over the front of it just to keep dust and particulate from getting in there. So you need to take that off. You also notice that it has a rubber seal. That's the red around the outside of it. So that's what's actually going to keep the oil from leaking out the side. And with the new, sure is going to be harder to find this now that it's black. So sorry, next person. The yellow one was much easier to find. Just thread it right up through here. Back onto the same threads. And just hand tight there is fine because we have that rubber seal. There we go. Okay, clean up can and more around the sides. It's dripped down. Keep it nice and clean in there. Otherwise, you got that oil on the side of the engine while you're driving. You're going to start getting a burnt oil smell while you're driving, so that's never fun. All right, that's it for installing the new filter. So we'll go back to putting the drain plug back in and then fill it up with some oil. So now that we're back down over here, we're getting ready to put the drain plug back in. One thing they were talking about before is how this oil filter is full of oil from before. So you can just dump that out in the same container there. And it should, depending on the size of the filter, there could be quite a bit of oil in there. All right, let's get this drain plug installed back again. So what we're gonna do is just put the drain plug in to stop the flow of that oil there, and then clean off any of the oil. So now we've cleaned off the oil that's around the sides there. We're gonna go back up top and start filling it with oil. All right, the next thing we're gonna do here is check and see how much oil it'll take. So you just grab your handy little owner's manual book, flip to the capacities and recommended fuel lubricants page or something similar, whatever yours has. And then we're looking for, this is the 4-cylinder, so KA24DE. Under that, with the oil filter, 3 3/4 of a quart. So what we're going to do is mark that out on our jug. We got a 5-quart jug, so we're going to end up with a 1 1/4 left in the jug when we're done filling. The other thing that I've done is cleaned up this oil filling cap a little bit. The last thing you want is to have doo-doo drop in there when you're filling it up with clean oil, just clogging up your filter faster than you need to. Something that I did not mention earlier was when I was taking the oil filter off, it was easy to do by hand, but that's not true with every vehicle. So some vehicles you may need some kind of tool. A lot of times there's like a specific size wrench that can get them off, or for harder to reach places or something where there's just not the right size of tool, you can get something like this where you'll wrap it around the oil filter and then it'll pinch back on itself and you'll be able to turn it out like that. So that's just another thing that may be needed. All right, here we go with the filling process. So I'm sure most professionals would definitely recommend using a funnel to do this, but we're going to see how well this works out for me. We're going to find out live if it was a big mistake or not. I can already tell this is going to be a big mistake. It's not the same as it is with the little 1 quart guys. So I'm going to go find a funnel. All right, the next thing we're going to do here is fill it up with oil. One of the things that I didn't mention earlier was potentially getting a funnel to do this. Sometimes you can get away without it if you're using the small quarts of oil, but this time I'm using the big boy, so we're going to use this guy. Okay, get that set up there. And we're looking for the back of this. We're going to look for that to be about a quart and change, and then we'll just check the dipstick and make sure it's all good. All right, now we're going to toss the dipstick in here and see what that gets us. And we're about a quarter of the way into the range there. So let's give it a little bit more. And now let's run it for a little bit and see what it does. All right, so we ran it for a little bit, let it cool down for, I don't know, probably 10 minutes or so. So we're just gonna give it one more check to make sure everything is okay. Another thing that we checked while it was running and after was to make sure that there's no leaks down below as well. So check the drain plug and then also where you put the oil filter on. Sometimes if the oil filter sticks, you may not see that it's not fully seated. It needs to be fully seated with that rubber gasket engaged to make sure there's no leaks there. Okay, so here we go. Check this one more time. Check it again. And you can see there we're right in between the lines. So we are all good. Put that back in there. Clean everything up and we are set. All right, so we finished changing the oil on the Nissan pickup. So if you enjoyed this content, please like the video and subscribe for more. Thanks.